Excellent. Thanks very much, Christine, and thanks all for joining the webinar today. Obviously, hugely important announcement for us, and very proud actually of the team that's been working on this for quite some time, and obviously very thankful to be working with Rio Tinto, who've been great to work with as well. It's a major milestone for us. The ZESTY technology's been around for a little while. We've tested ores from all sorts of from different iron ore players who we continue to have very good relationships with. But Rio is really a great player to be moving forward with in this joint development arrangement. It's not exclusive, so I will make that clear from the start. But Rio are partnering with us in a joint development arrangement to help develop this technology. So in terms of the highlights of this particular deal, Rio's going to be contributing over 35 million to help us develop this technology, and it's a combination of cash and in kind. The cash is about 8 million component. It will be coming in two phases. 3 million and then a 5 million phase, and that'll be coming in before we take FID on the project. So we're still targeting to take FID at some stage, hopefully this financial year or soon after. And we're targeting, as we move the project forward through certain milestones, that cash comes in. It'll come into Calix to be spent on the project. In addition, there's over 27 million in-kind support. That in-kind support takes several different formats, and I'll go through those a little further as we move through the pack. The other thing that's important for us is that the ZESTY unit, demonstration unit, will be located in Kwinana. We've sort of been a bit silent about the location of the plant up to this point, but we're very pleased to be able to now tell you that it's going to be located in Kwinana. I'll show you a map a bit further into the presentation of roughly where that is, both in terms of Australia, very unfamiliar with Australia, but also in terms of Perth and also proximity to other projects, other important projects that are happening. Just in terms of the breakdown, if you like, and the support that we're getting from Rio Tinto. I talked about the two tranches of cash that are coming in. Rio are very keen to support us get through a positive FID, which is great. We'll be working side by side with them as we develop it. They'll also be providing up to 10,000 tonnes of iron ore, and that's to help with the plant commissioning and ultimately operations. And also, which is really interesting, they're very keen to help us with respect to introductions to other potential users of the technology. And what I'm talking about here are steel producers. So obviously a lot of, or all of Rio Tinto's customers are in their iron ore division, steel makers. And so with respect to this potential agreement, the facilitation that Rio can bring to commercialise the technology cannot be underestimated. And it's great to have them there, enthused for the potential of the technology, and interested in making sure that they can introduce us to end users such as steel producers of green iron. So whereabouts are we located? So here's obviously on the far right, it's the map of Australia. Hopefully most people are familiar with that. The Pilbara region, where a lot of Australia's iron ore is exported from, is shown there in the upper sort of northwest of Western Australia. Kwinana is an industrial hub on the outskirts of Perth. So you can sort of see on the map of Australia where Kwinana is versus Perth. And the reason that we like Kwinana, well, there's a few reasons, but certainly the proximity to the NeoSmelt project is interesting. Rio is a partner in NeoSmelt, and also in the NeoSmelt project, BlueScope, BHP, Mitsui, and Woodside. And what's interesting here is our little demonstrating unit, targeting about 30,000 tonnes per annum throughput, is using hydrogen to make a direct reduced iron. And that direct reduced iron is actually the feedstock that NeoSmelt need to look at to test what they're terming their smelting technology that they're developing there. And what smelting does is it helps purify the iron. And so what we've got, if we can turn, when we sort of turn Pilbara iron ores into iron, they still have some contaminants in there. And so what's interesting about the NeoSmelt project is they're looking at a technology to smelt and remove those contaminants. So we're getting a couple of different elements, if you like, of what could be quite an exciting opportunity ultimately in Western Australia for the production of green iron. So that's where we're going to be located. Rio are helping by providing a site to do this project. So that particular site there, if you've read the Rio Tinto press release, it was a site they were developing for their bio-iron facility. Rio were developing their own proprietary green iron technology called bio-iron. They want to do a bit more research and development on that, and it's interesting that they'd like to move ahead with us on the same site that they were looking at for bio-iron. And so it's a great deal for us in that Rio Tinto are bringing a site as well as all of the other support they're bringing in Kwinana. So that's where we're located. Just in terms of other support that Rio are giving, in terms of operations of the demonstration plant itself, once it's built, they'll obviously have some use of that plant. They want to test some iron ores through it, and that's great. That'll be non-exclusive. The plant will continue to be developing an industry solution, but Rio will have non-exclusive use of the demonstration facility. They'll contribute to the ongoing costs via a tolling type arrangement. The business model for the demonstration plant will be a tolling type of business model, and so with respect to the way that the demonstration plant will cover its costs is to charge a tolling fee, and already Rio are going to be helping and contributing to that business model through a tolling arrangement, and they'll also facilitate the offtake of the iron we make. So we could be making it in the form of hydrogen direct reduced iron or hot briquetted or cold pelleted iron. And so there'll be some help from Rio in the offtake out of that facility, which is great, really important for us. Just in terms of commercialisation, when we think about commercialising a technology such as ZESTY, obviously having a strategic partner of the likes of Rio really helps de-risk. They have the option to take up shares in a ZESTY subsidiary for the 8 million in cash that they're looking to contribute. And so should we move past all of those points in the project and we get the 8 million cash in, Rio have the option to convert that cash into equity in a ZESTY subsidiary. So if you can recall our Lilac deal, where for the cement and lime opportunity that we have here in Calix, we actually had money that we raised within Lilac to continue to help develop that Lilac business. And so there's an option here for Rio to do the same, is to have equity in a subsidiary. With respect to the key terms, if you like, of a royalty and license arrangement with Rio, that's also been agreed. What that does is help validate the business model, if you like. And so when you have a think about, again, our Lilac business, we've got a couple of permanent global perpetual licenses now in place in Lilac. We've got a license agreement in place with Pilbara for our Pilbara Minerals project. And the key terms now agreed for a license agreement and structure for the iron and steel opportunity in our business with a company like Rio Tinto. And so what's interesting and what's important about that is the business model as a license and royalty business model continues to be validated and is now forming within another vertical within the iron and steel opportunity in this business. As part of that licensing arrangement, Rio Tinto have the ability to sub-license. And so to their customers, for example, they have the ability to take our technology and license it to their customers, for example. And so that ability to market and sub-license significantly enhances the reach of a little Australian technology company called Calix. If you think of the muscle that Rio Tinto have and the reach, it's a very substantial aid to commercialisation for us. And of course, just to emphasise, it is non-exclusive. Rio, we do have the ability to continue to license to other members of the industry, both iron ore producers and steel makers. And so the technology is not locked up. Rio are helping us develop it non-exclusively, which is a great outcome. So just in terms of pathways, I guess, to iron and steel production. So there's a few different ways that ZESTY can help decarbonise iron and steel. The first way is if we go all the way through, say, a direct reduced iron that's made with the ZESTY technology, and that is green. And so that gets on sold, if you like, into some sort of smelting technology, such as a neosmelt, to remove the impurities, and then ultimately into steel production. That's one production route. But there's also other ways that you can help start to decarbonise the iron and steel industry from a ZESTY type of technology. We've done all of our testing to date on Pilbara ores, which are typically sort of higher in contaminants or gangue compared to, say, magnetites. 96% of our exports are what we call hematite goethite ores, or that have slightly higher contaminant content than magnetites. And so the ability to actually make a green iron hot briquette, for example, out of a ZESTY technology, and then take that briquette and put that into a blast furnace. What that does, if you've made that briquette with green electrons, then that can help the blast furnace reduce its exposure, reduce its carbon exposure. It can back out a bit of carbon that it uses in the blast furnace. And so with Asia, with a fairly young blast furnace fleet, they can't take all those blast furnaces and chuck them out and just put electric arc furnaces in, run on renewable power. The ability in the interim to help those guys decarbonise is a really interesting opportunity. And so again, making a green briquette using a ZESTY technology, exporting that to blast furnaces in Southeast Asia and allowing those guys to reduce their carbon intensity with a green iron input is the other opportunity that we're looking at for ZESTY. So just in terms of obviously, with respect to Western Australia, recently the Premier there was talking about the opportunities for green iron. Green iron is obviously huge opportunity in Western Australia. We're, as I mentioned, we've got nearly a third of Australia's export income is coming from iron ore, and it's also under threat if there's green iron and steel that starts to be made from other parts of the world, green iron that are exported from South America or Africa, then Australia has an existential sort of threat there. So it's great to see that the government in Western Australia recognises that. The government is very interested in setting up a green iron industry in the country, and obviously with respect to where we're going to be building this in Kwinana, the back, if you like, the backyard of the Premier, and also the electorate for Madeline King. So two very important two very important people with respect to political support for this particular project as well. Just in terms of ZESTY itself, one of the things that I sort of said when we started this journey, if you like, to try and decarbonise iron and steel back in 2021, when we first announced ZESTY, one of the things we wanted to do was to see if we could increase the pace of development of the technology and commercialisation of the technology. And, with respect to our lilac technology, that's been around since about 2014, 2015, when we first filed the patent. And we're just moving through the stages now of getting a commercial demonstration unit sorted out for lilac. But ZESTY started quite some time later, 2021, and I said at the time, our aim is to fast track this deployment as quickly as we can, fast track the development and deployment. You can see the timeline's been pretty good, pretty quick. So we've moved through. We've got some ARENA support early on. We've completed a FEED study for a demonstration, commercial demonstration facility. Along the way, we've had some great support and some great recognition. So certainly winning an award at last year's COP, that was great recognition from, and not only recognition on the technical stage, but also again, the Minister Chris Bowen coming out and supporting us. It was really important for us to continue the momentum behind this technology and its development. Only recently, back in July, we were able to announce ARENA supporting the technology further with another 44.9 million. And we thank ARENA enormously for that support. We still need to find some match funding. This investment and this support from Rio goes a long way to helping with that match funding. Certainly the 8 million and part of that in-kind support can count towards match funding for the ARENA. We still need to raise some capital into Zesty to match that ARENA funding, but having this strategic support gets us a long way there. And so moving into 24 and 25, very pleased to see how much we've been able to progress in just a short space of time. So we're on track, if you like, to really accelerate this and develop this technology and commercialise it faster than we have in the past. So it's excellent to see and excellent to have done this deal with Rio to enable us to stick to that timeline. So all sorts of things happening now. We have what we call our blue slides, which sort of track our progress and what we're trying to achieve and by when. I won't go through in detail. This presentation's available, but it's great to add another name to the top there. Rio Tinto, largest iron ore producer in the world, alongside our partners, Hilt CRC, and all of the other iron ore players who are part of the Hilt CRC, who have also been great supporters of our technology as we've developed it and tested it. So watch this space, enormous opportunity. And yeah, really pleased to be able to talk about this advancement at last. Obviously, these things take time to get across the line, but it's very gratifying to have got there. Huge thanks to Rio Tinto and the support that they've shown us, and we really look forward to working with them on developing the Zesty technology. So I might pause there. Hopefully, left plenty of time for questions, Chris. Today, I'll hand back to you.
You definitely have. Thank you, Phil. So just a reminder of, in case you weren't on the line in the first few moments when we begun, the way you can engage with us with this Q&A session is you can either use the Q&A box, drop your questions in there and we'll read them out for you. You can also be anonymous if you choose to. And otherwise you can raise your hand, and when you're prompted in turn, you'll be unmuted by me, and you can go ahead with your question. So I will kick off with a few that have already dropped into the Q&A box. And the first question was, can we get any clarity on the comment, Calix intends to source the remaining funding required for the project at the Zesty subsidiary or project level, and how the funds will be sought?
Yes, certainly. So if I think and take people back to what we did with Lilac when we first raised capital into the Lilac group. So Lilac's a wholly owned subsidiary of Calix. It's developing cement and lime application of our technology. And we had an impact fund called Carbon Direct come in and invest 15 million euro for 7% of that Lilac entity. So we sit there as a 93% owner of Lilac, and Carbon Direct are a 7% owner. And so that was important capital to help progress the Lilac part of our business. What this deal represents, Rio Tinto are putting in 8 million euro in cash that's coming into Calix, but they also have the option to have some equity in a wholly owned subsidiary of Calix called Zesty. Zesty is the entity that will develop this and commercialise the technology for this. So Rio have that option to take equity in this entity called Zesty, and Zesty owns the project. Calix is also contributing the money from ARENA into this project, the 44.9 million, and the remaining money that the project needs to get up and running, we're looking to raise capital for. We've been doing that for a reasonable amount of time. So speaking to impact funds and venture capital, if you have a look at the last sort of 18 months, 2 years, successful raises into decarbonisation opportunities from impact funds and venture capital, there's always a strategic investor involved. And by a strategic, I mean someone from industry. And so what this deal represents is, I guess, a nice proof point for us, a nice piece of interest from an industry player in the core tech. And so we're looking to use this to help catalyse that capital raise into Zesty to find the remaining funds to complete the project. So hopefully that explains it, Christine, but happy to go a bit further if that doesn't quite get us there.
No, well, let's go on to the next question and see what else comes through as well. Next question is, to your knowledge, have any of the impact funds recently provided any funding for similar technologies without a strategic partner?
I'm not aware of any. No, I'm the ones the raises I'm aware of into iron and steel decarbonisation and cement and lime decarbonisation. Every deal over the last 18, 24 months has involved a strategic. Yeah.
So I'll just move into the Q&A box. So the next comment here is, congratulations, Phil. 8 million will form part of Calix cash flow at this stage.
Yes, absolutely. So the 3 and the 5 that come in 2 tranches are coming in as we progress the project forward. So as we tick off certain items along the project pathway that we'd have ticked off anyway, but with Rio beside us now, then we should unlock those tranches. So yeah, it certainly adds to Calix's cash position.
Okay. We've got another question come through. Could the team outline the near-term next steps for Zesty?
Yes, absolutely. So really what we want to do is progress this project to FID as soon as we can. As I mentioned before, we unlock 2 tranches of cash from Rio as we do that. So as we can tick off certain boxes with respect to the project, the site, the technology to be built at that site, then we start to unlock those tranches. So that's a big focus for us. The second tranche of cash, which is the 5 million, that gets unlocked as we approach the key things that need to form part of our final investment decision. And as I say, we were going to be having to do them anyway as part of our own final investment decision. But doing them with Rio beside us is going to be a whole lot, well, it's going to be a great deal of support for us, which is great. So once we unlock that second tranche of cash of 5 million, then obviously what we want to do is get and make that final investment decision. The other thing that we need for that final investment decision is to raise that cash into Zesty to match the ARENA funding. So as I mentioned, the Rio financing, the cash and a little bit of the in-kind goes a little bit of that way, or goes a reasonable amount of that way, I should say. But we still need to raise that other additional funding into the Zesty subsidiary. And so in parallel with progressing the project, we're going to be talking to impact funds, venture capital, etc., about the fact that we've now got this strategic partner and hopefully catalysing that capital raise.
Okay, thanks, Phil. Next question is, can you go deeper into hydrogen sources? And I imagine that means the use of Zesty.
Absolutely. Hydrogen is one of those areas that we thought would be a no-brainer, but as we've moved forward, we've seen a few of the hydrogen hubs not progress. So we're having a look at a few different options for hydrogen. There's all the different colours of hydrogen, as people may be aware. Ideally, at scale, to produce a green iron, you probably use a green hydrogen. And so the ability to use renewable electrons from solar or wind, and backed up by obviously some storage off the network, you'd be producing green hydrogen. ultimately that would go into our technology to produce the green iron. We are looking at a few different options. Do we do our own electrolyzer? We know that there are certain smaller hydrogen projects that are being looked at in Kwinana, and do we tap into those? So there's a couple of options still that we're looking at with respect to hydrogen. And as we progress the project, and obviously before we do an FID, we need to have, I guess, de-risked and understood the hydrogen supply situation better. So either external projects across the fence, or we do it ourselves.
Okay, thank you. So the next question here is, does the 8 million just convert into a percentage of Zesty when that valuation is decided, presumably through impact fund investment?
That's absolutely right. Yep. So there's no predetermined valuation that's part of this joint development arrangement and that particular part of the agreement. So yeah, obviously as we progress on the financial investor, the financial investment front, whether there's one, two, or several. Typically, if a lead emerges, they typically set the terms of that deal and typically set what value they're going to value the Zesty entity at. And then that, if Rio decide to take up their option for equity, the 8 million will be converted to that value.
Okay, so we've come to the end of the questions in the Q&A box. I might give everybody a minute to, if they're typing something in, to get another question through. Okay. I'm going to give everyone a chance to get their questions through if they've got them. Maybe just pause a little bit longer. Phil, what do you think?
Look, if people can't think of a question now and they think of it later, send it through. Obviously, contact us via. I think in the slide pack, it's how to contact us. So just make sure you send it through, and we'll get back to you on that. So look, I'll conclude it here. Just coming up to the half hour. Thanks hugely for your attention. Hugely important deal for us. Great to get it across the line. It represents a major strategic who's interested in working with us. So it really does help validate and de-risk the technology and the process. It's a ratification of our business model because the basics of the license arrangement are already outlined in the JDA, and really allows us to catalyse the way we're going to fund this. Having a strategic interest is really a nice de-risker for impact funds and venture capital. So very important step. Still a way to go. We're not saying that there's not, but this is a major step forward for us. So I'm very, very pleased to get this done. Very grateful to be working with the largest iron ore company in the world to develop our technology. Thank you all very much.